Eastern suburbs. Red, white, and blue, we're flying high. Sydney Roosters reach the sky. Eastern suburbs. Took flight, come on. Born in Bondi, so the skies ignite. From the east our spirits rise. Red, white, blue, our story told. From nothing we rose, made our claim. Eastern pride, we built our name. Stronger now, we never fall. Rooster spirit standing tall. Yeah, come on, feel that pride, let's go. Since the start the legacy lives. Power the heartbeat gives. Red and blue, we walk with pride. Fans by side, can't hide our vibe. Flags up high, crowd in sync. Roosters rule, we never blink. Eastern suburbs. Eastern suburbs. Red, white, and blue, we're flying high. Sydney Roosters reach the sky. Eastern suburbs, Roosters! Get up! Feel that pride! Grand on fire, glory set. Fighting with fire, no regrets. Yeah! Every tackle, every try, hit hard.
Great start, everyone. Welcome to the City
There we
Roosters.
go.
Yeah. Do apologize. Anyway, I don't know what was muted or not, but I'll repeat myself again. We do have a Para fan with us with all the recent news around the Parramatta Eels and around Zach Lomax. I think it's only fair that we get a Parramatta fan on here as a little bit of a special episode where we don't usually not going to have a lot of rival fans on the channel this year, but I just felt I feel like it's time to have, with all the stuff that's going on, I think it's here to get another, especially with all the situation around Zach Lomax and involving his team's club. It is Expact Oli, obviously Eels fan, and has a podcast of his own, the Rugby League Rookie Podcast. Ollie, welcome to the City Roosters Diehards, mate, and welcome to Chook Chat.
Oh, thank you. This should be very exciting. Obviously, I have a lot to say on the Lomax situation now. So many details about it. So it'll be a good chat, especially with Parramatta taking on the Melbourne Storm tomorrow night.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a little bit of a deep dive in that one as well. I've been on Ollie's podcast before. I think it's on YouTube. So I'll probably put a link in the description a little bit later on. So you want to go check that guys out. So obviously I've been on his channel. It's now my turn to return the favor and get Ollie on here. Obviously a Roosters related podcast. So I don't think it'll be well liked as much as what you might expect because we are Roosters fans and we don't like the rival oppositions. But I'm sure the Diehards community here, they'll get behind you and all that. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for content creators in our space, and it's always great to give that exposure to up and coming creators. So welcome, mate. I hope all is well. Thank you for coming on tonight. Really appreciate your time. We'll go for the live chat as well very, very shortly. We've got Jake in here. We've got Matthew as well. Everyone's just saying it's muted, but I do apologize for the little hiccup there, but that's just dodgy equipment. I can't really fault that. Obviously, Ollie, obviously you're a Para fan. I just wanted to ask you about what's your background around the Parramatta Eels and that, and where and how did you fall in love with your team you support?
Oh, okay. It's mainly coming from my family, especially my mum. She grew up all around the place, mainly Parramatta, then moved up to Brisbane and all that. But she's been a Parramatta fan for so many years, watching us win the premiership, which was a long time now. And we moved on. We left Australia, and I basically grew up mostly in Singapore, so really away from rugby league, and wasn't too interested into it until I guess when we made that grand final back in 22, and especially at the start of 2025. But I started making NRL content here. I became a member of Parramatta, going to basically all the games last season, and hoping to do the same this season. But yeah, that's kind of how I became a fan of the best team in the league.
Oh, I don't know about that one, but it's great. It's great to have you here, mate. And obviously, we'll definitely cross paths throughout the year as well with when Parramatta take on the Roosters and that. Obviously, it's also good to know that obviously Ollie is a Parramatta fan, and obviously we're going to speak about both clubs, topics and opinions over the next half an hour or so, which is also good for me as well. So we get a little bit of a different perspective from a Rivals fans on the Roosters, and same thing with Parramatta as well. So yeah, it's really exciting. Can't wait for this. So before we begin, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, as the whippersnipper is going off beside me. But yeah, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on the Instagram, and subscribe to the Sydney Roosters Diehards. And go check out Expact Oli and his social media pages. Link is in the description as well, the Rugby League Rookie. And go check him out. Right, let's get into the I think the first question that was asked in the chat was around Hugo Savala. Where is the Fluff? My best bet is Fluffy's injured. Obviously, wasn't named in the New South Wales Cup side, wasn't named in the first grade side. Like I reported yesterday that he's got, he was in a moon boot after rolling his ankle in the first trial game against the West Tigers, and obviously he wasn't involved in the Parramatta trial, so looks like a little bit of a precaution there, but it looks like it's a little bit more serious than a rolled ankle, a little bit of a minor strain or something like that. So that's why he's been out of the two sides, because you kind of expect though, like if Hugo wasn't selected for the first grade side, he'd definitely be playing New South Wales Cup this week. He wouldn't have been out of both. So there's a little bit of an injury there. Obviously, nothing significant to report from the club's perspective or NRL physio or on the NRL casualty ward. So I don't think it's too much to read into, but obviously that's why he's unavailable this week. So I just wanted to touch that one there. Obviously, I think we'll start off and we'll start off with Ollie here. Obviously, the biggest talking points over the week or over the last couple of weeks is around the Zach Lomax situation, and obviously we sort of got a little bit of a resolution yesterday with the ruling in Parramatta's favour, where Zach Lomax won't be able to join the Melbourne Storm currently, and obviously at this stage he'll be unable to sign with the Melbourne Storm or with a rival club until 2028 or until Parramatta feel that the compensation is justified. Ollie, mate, you're a Parramatta fan. This is obviously involving your club. The floor is yours. I want to hear your thoughts on this whole situation.
Oh, well, look, at the start of last season, I was pretty unsure on Zach Lomax. He kind of had grown on me a little bit, and now that's completely gone down. When we first figured out about this, I'm sure most of you guys would agree that we all knew that it wasn't going Lomax's way. It was never going to go his way. It was very simple that Parramatta were going to win this. Obviously, there was offers from the Storm to, I think, Parramatta trying to get rid of Mattison, and then he didn't want to go to the Storm because he would have been in a similar place where he wouldn't be playing any main footy for the Storm. So that was kind of the last attempt to get Lomax to go to the Storm. But yeah, overall, I'm happy it's gone the way of the club. Obviously, when he's a player like that, he's very quality of a player, and you do want to see these guys play rugby league. So I do feel a little sad for him in that sort of case. But yeah, I'm sure that either maybe something could happen if Parramatta agree with the Storm. I think the Storm's probably the only team that Parramatta might agree with because they've had a lot of conversation already. And I think most likely he could end up possibly playing rugby union, maybe for a season, maybe a season or two, especially if this Rugby 360 stuff still continues to go on after.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I think the wider rugby league community and rival fans are definitely in support of Parramatta with this whole situation, and and showing the backbone, and with the club standing up for themselves, and not backing down, and enforcing that the agreements to this contract and the release of Zach Lomax is fulfilled. So I think big ups to Parramatta and everyone involved in this situation. Obviously, it's not great to see how this has played out, but good on Parramatta. Not being forced into a agreement that they don't agree to. So I think, as if you're a Parramatta fan, you'd be extremely proud of how your club has handled this situation.
Yeah. You gotta be proud of your club for handling something like this very, very well. We shouldn't be in that point where one player should be against the law in any way. Like, that's not how it works. It was very simple looking at it from a legal point of view. As I said earlier, Parramatta most likely were going to win this from when we originally saw it, and they did go on to win it. But yeah, hopefully something like this can really, I guess, continue on and kind of show other clubs that they can do similar stuff, and they don't just need to listen to their big player with lots of money, because the club is most likely in the right.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And also, it's also a little bit of a reminder to rival clubs as well that this is the way to do it. Obviously you don't want to see it this way, but especially small, not the big clubs like us in Melbourne and Penrith and that, but like a club like Parramatta that haven't had success in recent times, have been up and down the ladder, and to have a little bit of backbone, and stand up to a club like Melbourne, it takes a lot of guts to do so, because it could easily just gone up in their faces here, and they've easily could have just sort of retreat and give in to the Storm, but like they're still strong, Parramatta, and at the end of the day, they've got the decision they're after. Obviously, it's not great to see a superstar like Zach Lomax out of the game, but unfortunately, this is a consequence that he has to now oblige because of a decision he made to leave his current club of employment to go see other opportunities. Obviously, it's blown up in his face here. He didn't expect this to happen. Didn't expect to see, didn't expect to see his deal or his ambitions to go to R360 sort of, fall through, and sort of had nowhere else to go. But, at the end of the day, like, I think it was more the factor as well. But from what I've seen and what I've read into over the last couple of weeks, especially over yesterday when the decision was made, I feel like, though, the way that I've seen it is like Parramatta, I don't think it's Parramatta's going out and saying, no, we don't want to see him back in the NRL until the decision is made, until his contract is obliged. He just doesn't want, they just don't feel that this is, justified for him going to Melbourne, and what Melbourne are offering on the table isn't suitable for what Parramatta feel like is a fair compensation. Is that something you agree to?
Yeah, I would 100% agree to it. We shouldn't just let him go to any club, especially not the Melbourne Storm. We have a lot of rivalry with them, obviously back in 2009, the Premiership and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be letting him go to any other club, and especially not any of the big teams with lots of money and lots to offer. And yeah, especially the Storm specifically. We don't, as a Parramatta fan, we don't want to give him any players, and we shouldn't have to.
Yep, I agree. And obviously, with the developing situations around Ryan Madison now, apparently that there was reported that Parramatta, Melbourne as well, trying to create a little bit of agreement with Ryan Madison, taking him off the books of Parramatta and signing him at Melbourne, then releasing him straight afterwards, kind of thing, pay out his contract and something like that. So it's all confusing and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, look, I can see a world where Lomax will be back in the NRL before this Parramatta contract timeline will resolve. I think that probably, if there's another club that comes knocking and they offer something that is reasonable for Parramatta, they'll take it for sure. Like, I think I heard something today, like, I think it's a really, really pretty fair trade, in my opinion. If Parramatta are interested in Mitch Barnett and they offer Zach Lomax to the Warriors in a trade with Mitch Barnett, I think Parramatta would take that. What do you feel on that?
Oh, Mitch he's really good. I would definitely take that. I'd love to see him. Also, Warriors, obviously a good side, but not as good as the Storm as well. That's more something that I think the club would want to take, would want to look more into. I would definitely like to see that as a Parramatta fan. It makes it just so much easier than let's just end this now, give him to another club, but we get something very fair in return, because overall he's still in contract and we're giving him away basically. So we might as well get something really good out of it instead of where the Storm stuff. And you just got to feel for Mattison. It's probably not very good for him. Like mentally, he's just kind of getting thrown around. Parramatta don't want him. He's not playing it. He's not going to play any minutes here. And then they were thinking, oh, let's give him to the Storm just for him. He's going to be there for a year, sit on the reserves and not play as well, and then get released. So you got to feel for him as well.
Yeah, he's been brought into this situation when he hasn't done any wrongdoing. So, yeah, it must be a tough situation for Ryan Madison in that. So, but at the end of the day, like, obviously, there's still a lot more to this story. But at the end of the day, Parramatta, they've got the result that they were after. I think it's fair to say that Parramatta were pushing this more because it was Melbourne. Maybe it was another club, I don't think there'd be this much media attention about it. I don't think another club like the Storm. I think Melbourne were sort of trying to push the narrative here because they were a little bit of the trouble. Obviously, Ryan Pappenhausen is no longer at the club. Nelson, Xavier Coates is out for the first chunk of the season. So they're sort of in a little bit of a tough, tricky situation, Melbourne. So they're trying to get this Lomax deal over the line so they get their season sort of sorted and ready to fire. Speaking of that, obviously, which makes it so much funnier that you two are now playing each other tomorrow night in Melbourne. Parramatta in Melbourne, round one. It makes it more spicy. But, like, do you think that is this got any sort of distraction with the playing group or with the involved with Parramatta? Because obviously all the attention is going to be on the two teams come tomorrow night, and obviously that's going to be talked about. Do you think that's going to, for even tomorrow night or throughout the season, do you reckon this is might be a little bit of a distraction?
Okay. Personally, at this level, I don't think many players would get distracted, but I think something like this could definitely put them a little bit off. There's always a massive rivalry every single time we go against them, no matter if it's in Melbourne or it's here in Parramatta. There's a big rivalry there. This kind of just adds a little bit extra. Obviously, Madison's not playing, but if he did play, wouldn't that be even funnier? But you got to also think maybe some of the players in that squad, I'm sure a lot of them are probably quite close with Madison as well. So with now him being brought into that, it could definitely cause something between the different players and all that.
Yep, 100%. And obviously we'll find out tomorrow night. Should be a mouth-watering clash, this one. We'll turn our attention to some Roosters related issues here, some topics over the last week or so. Obviously, yesterday we saw the Roosters a little bit of a merch range, winter range started to appear. Obviously, the retro jacket, the Adidas tracksuit is just absolutely sick. I don't know if you've seen it, Ollie. That it's I've got one of the originals at home, and it's one of my favorite. Myself, Brody from City Vintage. A lot of Roosters fans out there can all comfortably say it's one of the best pieces of memorabilia and retro jackets, the original ones that we've ever produced, training wise. Obviously, we've got a replica returned that was announced yesterday. What are your thoughts on? I don't know if you've seen it or not, but if you have, what are your thoughts on it?
I haven't seen it. I'll search it up in a second. But
It's
as
in
you
the
see,
thumbnail.
I'm a big fan of a nice jacket, and when you're partnered with someone like Adidas, you and especially bringing back a throwback, I kind of
I don't know
can
if you can see
expect
that.
what
Let
this
me
might look
just.
like. Yeah, let me have a look. Let me give my
It's
first.
good, man. I know you're a Para fan, but it's very, very clean. Let me just get this up.
Big fan of a jacket. Oh wow,
I
that
don't know if you can
is
see that well.
that's what you want. That's what you want from a um. That's what you want from a Roosters jacket. I
Yeah.
think knowing Adidas, they are the best at stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, big fan of the jacket. Got one on now. Parramatta
Mhm.
one from last year. So yeah, I think they're some of the best stuff that we see from most NRL clubs every season. So it's good when a NRL club has a good jacket for people to wear in cold weather when we get later in the season as well.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, especially being in Sydney, it obviously although I do live in Brisbane, it does get cold in Brisbane, but obviously at Roosters games or Para games or wherever we be, it can get cold in Sydney during the winter time. So having the winter range sorted, so you're
Yeah.
nice and warm and cozy at games. It's very, very important. But yeah, like it's such a great piece, and I was a big fan of it when it involved. Obviously, looking forward to this weekend. We take on the Roosters, take on the Warriors in New Zealand on Friday. Ollie, what are your thoughts on with a lot of talk about the halves combination with DC and Sam Walker as a rival? Obviously, we've had our fair say on it between the off season and throughout the year, but I think it's great that you're here, that we can get a different perspective from someone who's not a Roosters fan. I think it's, but yeah. So I really want to hear your thoughts on this halves combination. Do you like it, or you don't like it? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I think every single person watching right now who's a Roosters fan, I'm guessing, will love my opinion on the Roosters for this season. I predicted the ladder for this season. It was actually like a couple months ago. I thought let's do it really early, but then as soon as I'm looking at that team, especially that halves pairing, I think you guys will win the minor premiership. I'm pretty confident on that. I think you guys have the team to do it. I think one thing is, will DCE succeed or will he flop? I think that might be one of the key points you guys got. But if he does very well in this first game in the next couple rounds, this could definitely be the best halves pairing we have seen in a long time. 100%. I think it just works perfectly.
Yeah, man, I'm great. I'm great to hear your thoughts from that. I'm really glad that you've had your say on that. Obviously, sort of realigning my point across over the last throughout the off season and that. Look, time will tell. Obviously, our first look will be Friday night, a full game of them two playing. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of optimism and really excited for the year ahead. Obviously, about you turning attention to you boys. Obviously, we mentioned that you guys taking on the Melbourne Storm tomorrow. But in the season as a whole, Parramatta, a lot of promising signs last year towards the back end. Obviously, you did win the preseason challenge, so some good trial form. You did beat us. I have you definitely fighting for the top 8. There is potential there for Parramatta. Where do you see yourselves finishing this year?
Okay. As much as I like to say, oh, we'll make top 4, we'll make minor premiership, I think this year, if we don't make top 8, it will be incredibly disappointing. And I know there are like 15 out of 17 teams who I think can make the top 8 this season. That's how close it is, especially for those 6, 7, and 8 spots in the top 8. I think we'll get around one of those, maybe 6th, if very best, I would say around 7th or 8th is where we're going to finish. But yeah, we've got a good team. When Adokar gets fit again, obviously he's injured at the moment. Yeah, he'll be key. Simonson on the other wing. I said as soon as the Lomax stuff came out, I thought he was going to be the man. And for this first game, he looks like he will be the man. And hopefully that will continue throughout the season because he was very good last season. And the fun thing I'll say, this season's going to be a good one. If we continue on that form that we had at the end of the season, beating Brisbane at Suncorp and all that, we beat you guys at Combank. I think, genuinely, at that point of time, we were like basically undefeatable. For some reason, we were so good at the end of the season. If we can have a season, something like that throughout the season, yeah, it could be a very promising one for us.
Yeah, I like your optimism there. But yeah, like the signs are there for Parramatta on the rise. I think as well, like I know, the start of the season last year for Parramatta was disappointing, but you can tell how patient everyone was with Jason Rolls, and I think Jason Rolls is a great fit for you guys. And you can start, towards the back end last year, you guys are making dividends. So, and hopefully the good preseason for you guys as well, which will definitely bring you guys some confidence going into the season, and it's going to be really exciting to see Parramatta play. Obviously, not against the Roosters, of course. But, yeah, look, I'm really excited for the year ahead for you guys as well. We're just going to finish up with a quote from Roosters assistant coach Michael Checker. This was found out today. I saw it on the NRL Online website. This is really the first time I've been an assistant coach. It's been a huge learning curve, which has been unreal. It's great for me being a head coach all my career to understand exactly what I want from my assistants, and therefore I'm in a great position to be able to become really worthwhile. Obviously, I'm just. Are you sort of aware of Michael Checker and what he's done in the past, Ollie? Because obviously, I haven't been. Obviously you're quite young, so compared to me, but like, I'm sure you're aware around the rugby union setup.
Yeah,
Wallaby,
yeah. I know a little.
Yeah, okay, obviously.
I've got an idea, basically.
Yeah, so obviously coached the Wallabies, Argentina in as well. So he's definitely very smart rugby league mind. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Michael Checker being assistant coach of the Roosters?
Well, I think it's good. I think we'll definitely start to see even more of a kind of crossover, which we are starting to see with players and coaches between union and league. Obviously, one of your star players last season, Mark Nwangawitawase, came from the Wallabies as well. So I think it's always good when you can bring a coach from union, someone who has experience at one of the top teams in union as well, at the Wallabies and at Argentina. It's just going to make the Roosters better, and he'll be able to bring a new kind of side of the game and do something different, I guess, with different players and that. And I think overall it will work. I think a lot of things are going to work very well this season for the Roosters.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's also to know that Trent Robinson as a coach, he loves having different perspectives and opinions on things. In the past, we've got in our coaching staff this year, we've got Nick Davis, who was a famous Sydney Swans player. We had last year in stages Johnny Longmire, who was the former premiership winning coach with the Sydney Swans. Even at the start of the year, he was in the dressing rooms of the Australian cricket team with Pat Cummins and Travis Head there. Obviously, our academy and junior pathways have sort of been based on FC Barcelona, and he's a really sharp mind, Robbo, and Robbo always loves to have different perspectives and opinions from different people on all sorts of styles and on all parts of sport. So it's really, really cool to have that different perspective as well, especially coming from a rugby coach as well. So how he described it with how he was a coach, a head coach most of his time, and sort of bring it, have that what he wants as a head coach, what his assistant coach he wants to be, or what his assistant coach wanted him to be. He wants to replicate that for Robbo. He wants to replicate what he wants as he expects as a head coach, what his assistant coaches want him to be. Same thing now will apply. He wants to be that perfect assistant coach for Robbo and have that, that sort of, experience and all that kind of stuff. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100% would agree. Robbo is definitely open-minded. He will want coaches who have different opinions and different views, and the stuff with Union will work. As someone, I've watched Union quite a lot recently over the last year. I'm literally about to start my first season of rugby union at school. So, I'm full into the Union at the moment, and I have been for a while. Rugby league always on top. But yeah, with new perspectives from a slightly similar version of the game, you can say it will just be more positives for any club, if that's for the Roosters or maybe any other team who possibly thinks, oh, let's do something similar.
Yep, 100%. I agree with you. And yeah, well, I think that's pretty much everything that we've wanted to cover today. So I do appreciate your time coming on, Ollie. Obviously, we'll definitely see you again soon over the near future at games or on your podcast, or maybe might be able to get the call up for a second time. But I really appreciate your time coming on tonight.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure to come on. Hopefully, I'll see you later this season when Parramatta take on the Roosters. Last time the game was at CommBank, I was there. I walked right past you. It's on recording. I walked right past you. Didn't even notice. This time, if I see you when we play each other, I'm definitely going to come and say hello.
Definitely. I'll be keeping my eye out. That's for sure. Well, that concludes another episode of the Chook Chat podcast. Like I said, I want to thank our special guest, Expact Oli, for coming on out of his busy schedule. Stay tuned tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow, we'll have the match preview for the Roosters and the Warriors. They'll be out, obviously, with our game day content coming your way on Friday. A lot to look forward to. Ollie, good luck tomorrow, mate. I hope the Eels get the win for you over the Storm. Okay. And enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the Sydney Roosters Diehards, and give us a follow on the Instagram. And go check out Expact Oli on his Instagram and on TikTok as well. Right, that'll be us for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, it's goodbye for now.
Goodbye.